Okay, welcome to another episode of Motivational Monday, where each one teach one. If you find yourself in a spiritual battle, don't fight like the world. Turn to God and His truth, empowered by the Spirit, to find victory. Matthew 4:11, verse 11. Lies and false reports are among Satan's choice of weapon. Father, thank you for your constant presence in our lives and for your promise of your guidance and direction always. We know that you are bigger than anything we can possibly face. Grant us grace to be patient and obedient, to listen to your still, soft voice and follow your commandments. May our hearts be open to receive your guidance and our mind to be focused on your truth and wisdom. Be our eyes and ears through all situations. We will praise your name as you alone can satisfy the hunger and thirst that we have for you. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Amen and amen. So, guys, I want to do some birthday shout outs right now. So, I want to shout out Claudia Haynes. Happy birthday. Today is also April Fool's Day, which is the 1st of April. If you didn't know, now you know. So, I want to say happy birthday to Paula Pear. Paula, have a blessed and wonderful and safe day. You know, you and Claudia, um, big up, big up. Um, and this month, we are celebrating Earth Month. What is Earth Month? More recently, many have started dedicating the entire month of April to celebrate the strides and continued effort of the environment movement, with more time to reflect on our past, present, and future conversation work. People the world over have even better opportunities to shed light on some of the planet's most pressing issues and establish new habits, relationship, and community driven efforts to create the type of change we need in order to protect our planet for the future. So, Earth Month, they are giving us some suggestions where we should participate in the Earth Month event, donate to the environment because you can care about it, access 100 clean energy plant from your home, organize a neighborhood cleanup, introduce sustainable habits to your routine, swap unusable household items with eco-friendly options. Go outside and enjoy the month for Earth Month. So the word of this week I have is shambles. And shambles refer to a place or state in which there is great confusion, disorder, or destruction. So again, the word of this week is shambles. So I have a health tip for you guys this week. And we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to be pre-diabetic. I know a lot of us, sometimes when we go to the doctor, they will tell you you're borderline or sometimes you're pre-diabetic, right? And I think it happens in what, 4 out of 5 people. Pre-diabetic refers to a condition of evaluated blood sugar that does not raise to the level of diabetes. That is 200 ml in the blood and 2 hours after eating. A person with blood sugar levels between 141 and 199 after a glucose tolerance test is considered pre-diabetic. People who are pre-diabetic are at high risk of progressing to type 2 diabetes, as well as being at high risk for a stroke, heart disease, and other conditions. Prediabetes distinguishes itself from type 2 diabetes in that it's easier to resolve than type 2 diabetes. However, many people are pre-diabetic and do not know it. Out of an estimated total of 88 million pre-diabetic persons over the age of 20 in the United States, 84% are unaware of their pre-diabetic status. In other words, unaware that they are high risk or developing more serious chronic conditions, that they have a window of opportunity to reverse the condition. The number could not even higher if oral glucose tolerance tests were done more frequently to screen for prediabetes. For this reason, the unknown condition that could be lurking around any corner is worth keeping an eye out for warning signs of pre-diabetes and getting tested if any of them manifest. Discovering prediabetes before it progresses to type 2 can result in a far health consequences, higher quality of life, and longer life expectancy. Warning signs for prediabetes often goes undiagnosed, with a vast majority having no symptoms at all. However, certain symptoms may indicate that an individual is pre-diabetic. Many of these symptoms could indicate your condition, but it may be worth checking for the condition as a measure to prevent the onset of type 2 diabetes. Sadly, too many medical professionals do not know enough about prediabetes to diagnose it properly, and it doesn't help that the typical doctor visit is already too short. For prediabetes, it is important to get to know the risk factor symptoms and to be tested if you are at risk. Keep in mind, you may not have all symptoms or any symptoms at all. But once you go to a doctor, you can get preventatives medicine, or you can check a doctor. And you could always look for increased hunger, frequent urination, increased thirst, feeling tired all the time, tingling or numbness in your finger or toes, blurred vision. So these are just some of the things that you could look for. If you get these kind of symptoms, you know that you are pre-diabetic. Good night, Shawnette. Good night, Marina. Thank you guys for logging in. So I hope you guys had a wonderful week. We went this weekend. I had a busy weekend. I was in Florida to a memorial for Anthony's brother. And then we went to PA with Marina on a bus ride. That was dope. I would recommend it for everyone to attend. And happy Easter Monday for all those that are celebrating Easter. I know this whole weekend here, some people had a long weekend, but I know America is different to Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean. But I want to say all those that are celebrating Easter, happy Easter. And all those who are celebrating, I think they had a Muslim, I forget what's the name, it just slipped my mind, but yeah, to the Muslim family out there, you know, I think you break your fast and everything. So I'm going to bring on my guest. He's no stranger to us, and we're going to get down to business. Good night. Good night.
Hey Phyllis, how you doing? I didn't know you were in Florida and you didn't come say hi, please.
Yeah, I was in Fort Lauderdale, but I just went for like a
Oh
24.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
about 4 hours away from me, so
yeah,
hi from online.
yeah. So how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Just got home, so I'm in my home office today. Hopefully that's okay with everyone. I have one
Yes.
client in California after this, so 3 hour time difference. So I figured I'd come work from home for the balance of my night. So
Right, right. That's very good. But thank you for taking the time. You know,
absolutely,
coming on to Motivational Monday and a Easter Monday, and it's the 1st of April. You
yes.
know,
Happy
um,
April, happy Easter.
yes. Happy Easter, happy April. So I think this topic that we're going to talk about today is so important, and it affects a lot of people, especially, you know, if they have kids, right?
Hmm.
So we're going to talk a little bit this evening on investing and starting early, setting your kids up for their future, and things to avoid when investing for your future. So which one
Yes,
you want to
indeed.
start with first?
Well, everyone loves kids, so I guess we could start there. Well, most people love kids depending on how well behaved they are, I guess. So
Well, that's a fact, eh? A fact.
definitely.
And guys out there, send your questions and we will try to answer them as best as we can.
Mhm.
Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Taylor.
Well, I think we can all start off with the fact that all of us parents, and I say us like I have children, but I don't have any as yet, but all parents that I know, they want to always give their children a better future than they had. And one of the best ways to do that is to set them up financially. So tonight we're going to talk about some ways that you could do that, but a great thing that you could do for all of your children is not just give them actual money, which I'll show you some ways on how to do that and some accounts that you could look into. But an even better thing to give them is the education about money.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have a resource and not be educated on how to use it effectively versus just not having that resource whatsoever. So there's actually a great resource that we came out with not that long ago called How Money Works for Children. And it actually is a tool that parents can use to talk to their kids about the subject of money. So if anyone wants that, if you have children, it's a free educational tool that we provide to all of our clients. So if you guys want to reach out to me via DMs or message me personally or reach out to Phyllis, put your information in the chat and we can get that resource over to you via email. It's a PDF. We can mail a hard copy to you as well. But when it comes to providing money for children, there are actually several different ways that you could do that. When I
Right.
first got into financial services, became investment licensed, a lot of the parents that I was working with, this is going back 10 years ago, they were very concerned with, well, the cost of education and setting money aside for their children's college expenses or higher education expenses. Today, while that is still a concern or a goal for parents, a lot of parents want the flexibility to give their child money and not have it tied to any education restrictions.
Right.
A lot of parents today are familiar with the 529, or if you want a little bit more flexibility but still tied to education, there's the Coverdell Education Savings Account. But the type of account, and we set them all up for parents, by the way. So every account that I mentioned, we have the ability to set up for parents.
Right.
But the account that a lot of parents are asking questions about now is the UGMA or UTMA, Uniform Gift to Minors account or Uniform Trust to Minors account. And the big benefit of that account that's attractive to a lot of parents is that it has no restrictions, meaning
Oh,
the child is not required to use that money for education. Because as
right.
we all know, with the 529, for example, if the child doesn't use the money for college, let's say the child does not go to college, you either have to transfer that money to another child or the child would pay taxes and penalties on the money. Side note
Right.
on the 529, Phyllis, they've changed the laws recently, which is a great thing in
Right.
that you can take money out of the 529 and put it into a Roth IRA for that child when they if they don't use all the proceeds. So there are workarounds to a lot of what we talk about now.
Right.
But let's talk about the 529, not the 529, sorry, the uniform gift or uniform trusted minors account. In fact, I was working with one of my clients in Georgia earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
They just had a new baby, 6 months old, and they wanted to set an account up. And after
Right.
we talked through all of those different options, they settled on the account that isn't tied to or restricted to college. So they're not doing a lot. And one of the things I find for parents these days is that they think, well, I have to have a large sum of money
Right.
to start investing for my child. And one of the beautiful things about investing is that you don't need large sums of money to leave large sums of money for your children. You can start up with as little as $50 a month setting aside for your child's future. And how
Mm-hmm.
many of us, if we really think about it, blow $50 and we can't remember where we spent it or what we spent it on? Imagine if we just redirected $50 into a child's future. And now when they turn 21, when they're about to head into the workforce or when they're about to graduate college, you give them kind of a, hey son, hey daughter, this is just a
Help
pile
you.
of money that you could use with for whatever you want.
I have a question here.
Sure.
Is it pre or post tax for Agna?
The UTMA or UGMA, it's actually post-tax money. So you've already been taxed, you've received your check, and the money that's going into this account is you've already been taxed on it. The great thing about the UGMA, UTMA, even the Coverdell, and by the way, the 529 is also post-tax money. So all of these accounts that we're talking about, you've already been taxed on it.
Right.
Now, if we want to sidetrack on the 529 for a second, if depending on the state that you're in, if you put your money into a state-sponsored 529 plan, then you do have tax deductions up to a certain amount. So there may be advantages to doing it that way,
Right.
but we're talking about right now accounts that don't have any restrictions.
Right.
So the good thing about this type of account, UGMA, UTMA, is that it grows tax deferred. So
Mm-hmm.
while the money is sitting in there, the parent or the custodian, you're not paying any taxes. And then when the money transfers to the child, it's taxed, but at the child's tax bracket.
Okay.
Most children, when they're in their early 20s, they're at the lowest tax bracket possible. They might just be fresh out of college, or they might just be working a full-time or part-time job. So their income may not necessarily be where us as adults are right now. So their tax bracket is very low. You're talking about 10, 12% on average. But here's the great thing. Once that money is transferred over to the child, and let's assume in this example that the child is working, the child can then take that money and progressively transfer it over to an IRA, a Roth
Mm.
IRA specifically. So
Okay.
now you, the parent, have gifted the child not just a head start on life, but a head start on retirement. In fact, can I share my screen?
Yes, I think you can.
Let me see how I could do this.
Yeah,
Share
because I was trying to
screen.
take off this writing from my screen from last week and I don't know what to touch.
No worries. Hold on, share. Let me know if you could see that screen. Can you see that screen?
No, I know you showed it last time. Oh yeah, I see it in that screen here. Hold on.
Okay, good.
One.
So this is just a
All right.
generic, oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
I see it. Yeah, yeah, that is it.
Perfect. So this is just a generic financial calculator. So people think, well, $50 isn't a lot of money that I could start setting aside for my child. So let's say you have a 1 year old or a 2 year old, and you just, so the rules for these types of accounts, UGMA, UTMA, the child takes over ownership of the account at age 21
Right.
in the state of New York specifically. So let's say you have a 2 year old, and we could run these numbers for whatever the age of the child is. And let's say you have a 2 year old, so that gives you 19 years to save money for your child. Okay?
Right.
And let's say you put $50 a month, which might not sound like a lot. It's what,
Affordable.
$12.50 every week, something like that. We spend $50 on our coffee habit. We
Yeah.
spend $50 just at Chipotle with a friend. And let's say you do a typical regular degular, nothing fancy, just a regular growth mutual fund that's averaged. I'll be uber conservative here. Let's say we've averaged 7%. The market's actually done significantly better than that over any 20-year period. We'll show
Right.
you that in a second. So averaging a modest 7% rate of return, again, the market's done better than that. When that child turns 21, they're sitting on an account that's $23,000. How
Hmm.
many of us,
Right.
when we turn 21, we wish we had 23,000 to sit on, right?
Exactly.
But here's the interesting thing. Now the child is 21 years old. You, the parent, have spent the past couple decades or a decade and a half or so educating them on money. I had a parent come in with their now 21-year-old child. They had set aside money in this type of account with me over the past few years. So the child was sitting on, they started several years. The child was older than two. But the point is, the child was sitting on, I think, $21,000. So we
Hmm.
transferred the $21,000 to the child, the young lady, I should say, in this example.
Right.
And now the parent said, hey, this is money that you have. You could do whatever you want with it. You could buy a car, start your own business,
Right.
continue to invest it, spend some. So I spoke to the child. So now the young lady is now a client of mine. So her parents are clients. Now she's a client. It's two generations that we're helping now. And
Right.
here's what we decided together with this young lady. She said, well, I'd like to spend some of it now. I have college tuition I'm paying. I want to do some stuff with some money. So we took it was we left her $6,000
Okay.
to play around with.
Right.
Again, any 21-year-old, if you gave them $6,000, they'd be happy. Now,
Exactly.
this young lady, she decided to spend the 6,000, but she's going to take about 14 to 15,000 and progressively transfer it over to a Roth IRA because she recognizes, with her parents' help, the importance of getting ahead and
Right.
planning for the future. And because she's already working a part-time job, she just works at the local grocery store here. So nothing fancy, but because she has a W-2 income or earned income, guess what she could open up? A Roth IRA.
Right.
So we're going to take that money. So let's do some additional math here. So normal retirement age right now is 67
Okay.
minus 21 years old. So now let's look at 46 years worth of investing. So we're going to start out with, let's just lowball it and say 14,000. Let's say she spends 7,000 instead.
Right.
And we're going to invest for the next 46 years. And now she herself, she's taken over the account. Now it's her money. She's
Right.
going to invest 50 bucks a month. Nothing's changed.
Right.
She's going to be 67 years old with $500,000 of tax-free money that
Hmm.
you, the parent, set her up from, set her up for.
Right.
If she's doing $100 a month, that's over almost $700,000 that child, now an adult, has set aside for their retirement. That you, the parent, put them on a trajectory of financial success. So that's why it's so important that we recognize the power of money and time. Because if you use your money effectively and you give it time to grow through various market cycles, then you will not only set yourself up, but in this example, you're setting your children up for a much better financial future than we had starting out. Does that make sense?
Yes. Kisha is saying, hello everyone. What a great way to start the month, as April is a financial literacy month. Sherry saying, I've always been taught to invest my money since back home. So, I mean, for a lot of people, investment is important. And I always say, you have to have a little savings, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what it is. You have to have a savings. So, let me ask you one question. So, let's say you have $10,000 and
Sure.
it's just sitting in the bank, but you really don't want it to sit in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
What investment you think we could do, or somebody out there could do, with 5,000, 10,000, just sitting there, not making
Sure.
any interest or anything? Any advice on that?
Very good question. And the answer is it depends. Because it depends on what the person is going to be using that money for. Let me share my screen again,
Right.
because that's a really great question. Let me see if I could find it here. Present. Share screen. Share. Can you see that screen now?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it out.
Okay.
Yes.
So here's how we approach investing for our clients. What type of investment account you have or where you put your money should really be based on when you need the money. So
Right.
case in point, if you think you're going to need that 10,000, that 5,000 in anywhere from now to the next 1 to 2 years,
Right.
our recommendation is put it in a high yield savings account. You could have a high yield savings account. Our platforms through Fidelity and some of our additional mutual fund partners, we have high yield money market accounts that are averaging 4.5% right now. But those accounts are 100% liquid. You don't pay
Right.
any fees or any expenses to put your money there. You could put your money into a high yield savings account today, take it out tomorrow if or when the emergency happens. Now, let's say you want that money for the down payment on a
A
home, or
house.
maybe some renovations on your house, but you know that that isn't going to happen for the next 3+ years. Well, there
Yeah.
are some short-term investment vehicles that you could put in that are tax efficient, that you don't pay a lot of taxes on, but it gives you better growth than the 0.01% that most of us are getting on our checking or savings account. And
Right.
then the third bucket, which is to the far right of your screen,
Right.
if we're looking at it from the same way, if you don't yet have money set aside for your retirement, then I would highly recommend that you take some of that and put it into a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA can grow to be 100% tax free when you get to retirement. So the answer is, should you invest your money? 100% yes. Where you should put your money is based on when you think you will need it. The sooner you need it, the shorter the time horizon, the more conservative you should be. The longer the time horizon, the more growth oriented you can actually afford to be, because markets do fluctuate. In fact,
Fluctuate.
let me show you why it's important to be invested, actually. This is a
That's
study done
a great
by,
point, I think, And
oh,
our
thank you.
company deals with Fidelity too. They are the
Mhm.
ones who our 401k um is with.
Good. Yes, and Fidelity is one of the mutual fund partners on our platform, so I'm very familiar with their positions. So this here is a really important slide to show families and show individuals as to why it's so important to get educated on the subject of investing. If you
Right.
take a look at this screen, it says at the heading, what does it say on the heading, Phyllis?
Effect of panic attacks on average investors.
Exactly. So if we're not educated on the subject of investing, what are we most likely to do when we see things that we're not educated on, like dips in the market, like the dot-com bubble or the financial crisis of '08 or COVID? When we see
Right.
those things and we're not educated on what they actually mean for us as investors, oftentimes because investors who are not educated, which is why a big part of what we're passionate about in my agency with my office is educating families on the subject of investing. Because if you take a look here, the average investor over the past 2 decades, what rate of return did the average investor get? Right in the middle. It
Uh
says 3.1%, right?
yes.
3.1%. But the actual economy, the US stock market, what did it do in the same time frame to the far left?
That was what, 9? Was it?
9.8% in the
Yeah.
same time frame. So because we're not, so why is there a difference between, this is what the market's actually doing over these last 20 years, including 2008, including COVID, including 2020 and all these other things. If the market's doing 9.8, why is the average investor only getting 3.1? And the
Mm-hmm.
answer is, we're not educated on the subject of investing. And when we're not educated, we make poor choices. In
Right.
fact, Phyllis, you said you have a 401k with Fidelity. So let's
Yes.
use you in this example. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say your 401k has 25,000. Can you see my screen again?
Yes.
I'm going to present a different screen so we could go back to that financial calculator so we could see this. Could you see that screen?
Yes. Let me open it. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So let's not use you in this example. Let's say someone has 25,000 sitting in their company 401k with Fidelity. They work at Delta or wherever.
Okay, so let's say 100,000.
Oh, all right, we going big. All right, Phyllis.
Yeah.
So let's say you have 100,000, and let's say you're 40 years old, and
Okay.
you're 25 years out. Retirement is actually 67, so you're 27 years out from retirement. And let's say every month you put $300 into your 401k.
Right.
You know what? Yeah, $300. If you average what the average investor has averaged, that 3.1%. Again, the average investor is someone who does not have any guidance. They make emotional decisions. They don't know even what's inside their 401k to begin with. And
Right.
this also matters when it comes to private investing as well. If you average that 3.1%, you're going to walk into retirement with, as it says there, 379,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Phyllis, you're in New York, right? Florida. I don't know anybody who could retire with less than 380,000
Right.
comfortably,
Right.
right? You and
Yeah.
Keisha might be going back to Jamaica. I hop on a flight to Guyana. I'll be in chill. But we
Yeah.
definitely ain't staying here, right?
Right.
So let's say you work with a trusted financial professional such as myself or one of my other associates, and we educated you on what a mutual fund is. That's what's in a 401k, but with specific ones to pick based on what your time horizon is. And
Yeah.
we didn't try to do anything fancy with your investments. We didn't try to beat the market. We're not
Right.
chasing after big fancy
Right.
returns. If the market's doing this, we're just trying to do what the market's doing. So nothing fancy. If
Because
you
they
got
don't go
that,
to
mhm,
they have someone who does, like, you have a financial planner
mhm,
who, you know, play
moves things
draft.
around.
Yeah, move things around.
Yeah, that's where we come in and offer guidance on that. So let's say we helped you get that 9.8% instead. Now you're walking into retirement with how much though?
106
Now that's 1.6, almost
mm,
1.7 million.
million. Ooh.
So it's the
Wow.
same money and the same time frame. The only difference here is what the rate of return on that client's money is. So that's why it's so important. Let me stop sharing for a second. That's why it's so important that we get educated on the subject of investing, because it's not how old we are anymore that's going to
Right.
dictate how comfortably we retire. It's 100% based on how much money we have. Like the person, did somebody, what was the was it the Mega Millions? Somebody hit the Mega Millions
Yeah, I think
recently or something like that?
last year. Yeah, in Jersey, I
Yeah.
think.
That person's retired now. Why? Because they have money, okay? They didn't win the and say, look at the ticket, oh, I have to wait until I'm 65. No, they're retired now because they have money.
Right.
Retired meaning they can do what they want to do instead of what they have to do. And
Right.
that's why understanding investing and the subject of investing for your future is so important, and working with the right person that can steer you in the right direction, because unfortunately, especially today, with everybody being online and everyone being on social media, Instagram, TikTok, anybody and the mother could come on here without a professional license to talk about investing and
Yes.
steer you in a direction that, while it may seem like it benefiting you, like it's going to benefit you, what it's actually doing is hurting you financially, but benefiting the person who's selling you the wrong types of products that are
Right.
masquerading as investments, but
Right.
really aren't. So that's why it's important to get educated and working with the right person as well. Like if someone were to Google my name, they'd see two really important things. They'd see a picture of me with a full head of hair. Just keep scrolling. All right. Well, you'd also see that I'm a fiduciary financial advisor. So I'm licensed to have the conversations. And as a fiduciary, that's like the highest level of client care. So we have a legal and moral obligation to do what's in our client's best interest. And you have some people that are masquerading as that, but they're really not. So
Right.
they're putting clients in really, in fact, my client in California tonight, they were sold a life insurance policy as a way to save for retirement. When they sent me their policy statements, we looked at it together and realized, though, this is actually negatively impacting their ability to save for retirement as best
Wow.
as they can. So we're helping them get out of it and go into actual qualified investments for their retirement. So getting educated is really important, definitely.
So that's the side you wanna attack now is investing, making mistakes to avoid.
Yes. So
Okay.
there are a lot of things that could impact your investments and how they grow over time. So let's talk about some of them. Number one, which you'll hear a lot of people talk about, is taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes have a big impact on how you're able to grow and accumulate and live off of money in retirement. But they're only one consideration. A lot of people think that taxes is the only thing I need to be concerned about.
Right.
It's not. It's one of many things you need to be aware of. So here are some things to be conscious of when it comes to taxes. Your 401k is a great tool for retirement. Why? Because the money in there grows tax deferred,
Right.
meaning you don't pay any taxes in your 401k while you're contributing to the 401k. And
Right.
especially if your employer is matching contributions or giving
Well
you
done.
free money, you better take advantage of that
Yeah.
because that's free money. So a 401k is a great place, especially if you have a Roth 401k. That's another great place. A super duper great place is a Roth IRA. ROTH IRA. IRA just stands for Individual Retirement Account. No matter what your TikToker social media person who doesn't have an investment license might tell you, a Roth IRA is a great place to invest. Why? Because the money that goes into a Roth IRA, it's already been taxed. You get your check and then you put into it. The money that you put into the Roth IRA, it grows tax deferred. And then the most beautiful thing about the Roth IRA, when you start taking money out of the Roth IRA, guess how much you owe in taxes?
Nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we do with clients is when it comes to retirement planning, and if their income is at a certain level that allows them to, we take advantage of the Roth IRA. And even if your income is above the normal qualifications for a Roth IRA, guess what? You could still get your money into a Roth IRA.
Right.
Financial planning strategies like backdoor IRAs, there are lots of ways to still get an IRA for a Roth IRA specifically for yourself. And if your company has a Roth 401k, that's also a great place for you to do that.
Mm.
So IRAs and taxes, I should say, are one consideration. Another consideration when it comes to planning and saving for retirement is market fluctuations.
Yeah.
So the market going up and the market
Right.
going down. Now, over the past, I would say 3 years, I want to say, I've seen a lot of people who don't have an investment license. They just have one of the licenses that I've seen. Let me just call it what it is. I've seen a lot of life insurance agents try to scare you and I as consumers on the subject of market fluctuations. And they'll tell you that it's the worst thing to ever happen to you. And you should
Right.
find a way to avoid dips in the market while you're saving for retirement. Anyone ever heard of that on here? I'm guessing so. People have heard, well, you should avoid market fluctuations. If the market goes down, that's a bad thing.
Right.
Is it really though? That's a question we honestly need to ask ourselves. So Phyllis, you and I are going to play a little game here to show why this is so important.
All right.
Can you see that screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good. So these are two investors. Both of them are going to invest $100 a month
Yeah.
for their retirement, for their future. And let's pretend this is you and I. We're co-workers working at your company. We're investing into our 401k, or we're
Okay.
just looking to invest in general. One option is a rising market, a market that never goes down. That's option A. So you never experience any downturns in the market never goes negative. And
Right.
then the other option, investor B, invests through a fluctuating market. The market goes down, like a 2008, like
Yeah.
a 2022, like a 2001, dips in the market.
Right.
From an emotional standpoint, would you want your account value or balance to go down, or would you want the market to go down, or would you rather it just climb all the way up? Like, which one of
Climb
these
all
would
the way up.
exactly? You would want it to just go straight up, and there's some insurance products out there that promise you never get to experience a dip in the market as a good thing.
Right.
So you and I are going to play a game, Phyllis.
Oh,
You're actually going to be investor B, the one who actually goes through the dip in the market, and
oh,
I'm going to be the one with the smooth sailing ride all the way up. Okay? And
okay.
let's take a look at how that plays out for you and I. So let's take a look at, hold on, let me clear my screen here. Maybe this is, can you still see that?
Yeah.
Okie doke. Actually, I shared the wrong screen. Hold on. Let me share this one instead. Here we go. I'm going to share this one so these people can see what I'm talking about. Share screen. And we're going to share the PowerPoint. Bear with me, guys. Let me do this. I'm going to copy this. Can you see my screen still, Philip?
Hold on. No, it's not coming up for to share.
Uh-oh. I need someone to give me like a drum roll with the suspense. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could find it again.
Yeah.
Looks like someone messed with my presentation here. Let me see if I could copy this and then post it in
Okay.
the. But this part is actually one of the most important parts that messes a lot of people up because they're not actually understanding it.
Right.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Share again. So can
Yes.
you see that screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. My
Okay.
apologies. So
No problem.
I'm the investor A who doesn't go through any fluctuations in my portfolio. And
Okay.
as you can see here, in month one, I'm investing $100 a month. And in month one, it's $10 a share. So I got 10 shares. We all
Right.
see that, right? In month two, though, the market goes up. I'm happy. So the value of my investment goes up, but I'm investing monthly. So what
Right.
happens? Because it's $12 a share, I'm getting progressively less shares. Do you see that?
Yeah. It
By the 6th month, it's $20 a share. I'm only getting
five
five
dollars.
shares, right? Five
Yeah.
shares of the mutual fund or the stock in this example. Now let's take a look at you, Phyllis.
Yeah.
So you in month one, investing $100 just like me. In month one, it's $10 a share, so you got 10 shares.
Yes.
In month two, the market goes down. One of your coworkers says, "Hey Phyllis, did you see the news? The market's down.
Yeah.
It's now $7 a share, but look at that. Because it's cheaper now, you got 14 shares."
Yes.
By month number four, this is like March of 2020 when COVID first came and the market took a nosedive. And
Yes.
your coworkers might be telling you, "Oh, I don't know about this investing thing. You're
Yeah.
losing all your money. You
Yeah.
can't trust." All right. But look how many shares you got because of that significant dip. You got
60.
50 shares.
Yeah.
And then by month number six, it just comes right back up, which is exactly what the market does over a long period of time. So if
Fluctuate.
we do the math here, me, the investor who my portfolio just went up, that's 42 shares times $20 a share. So my account value is 840 bucks because I didn't experience any fluctuations in my account.
Right.
Your account, you have 126 shares at $10 a share. You have $1,260, 50% more than I do.
Mm,
Why is that? Because when the market was down, you bought the market on sale.
right.
So here's why this is important. Almost every single one of you listening to me, you're going to be a long-term investor. If you're investing for retirement, if you're investing for your child's future, you're going to be a long-term investor. Even for those of you who are in your 50s and onwards and you're thinking, well, I can see retirement on the horizon, you're still a long-term investor. Why? Because it's not like when you get to retirement, you're going to cash out your money and run back to Jamaica. Probably going to stay here and just live off of it monthly, okay?
Right.
So as a long-term investor, fluctuations in the market are actually advantageous. Why? Because when the market goes down, it allows you to buy more of your investment at a lower price.
Right.
And when inevitably the market goes up, what happens to the thing that you bought on sale? It's now worth more. So that actually adds to your account balance when you invest through various market cycles. So market fluctuations are actually your friend when it comes to investing. Now, if someone in here is in their late 50s, early 60s, should they be investing with complete exposure to market fluctuations? Not really.
Right.
And there are ways for you to have exposure to growth, but protection from the downside that have nothing to do with life insurance. Because here's why life insurance is not a good place to invest money for your future.
Right.
One answer: fees. Now, there are a lot of other answers that I could show you. If you have a policy that was sold to you as an investment, we could look through it like I'm doing with my client in California in a few minutes. But the fees that come out of your money affect how much money actually is invested.
Hmm.
So if Phyllis and I are both companies that charge a fee to manage your money, those of you
Right.
listening to me, and Phyllis is going to charge you a 1% fee or a 1.5% fee to manage your money. But me, the insurance company, or some other person is going to charge you, let's say, a 3% fee. Because my fees are higher, your money is going to grow less with me than it would with Phyllis.
Right.
Because the higher the fees, the less money you have to actually be directly invested. The other reason insurance is not a good place to invest for the future, because the performance is actually capped. And a lot of the performance on most life insurance policies is significantly lower than being directly invested in the actual market. So
Right.
not only are you dealing with higher fees, you're dealing with lower performance inherently. So those are a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't ever, 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 ever have your investment money for your future in insurance policies. And I'm happy to meet with anyone who has a different opinion, and we can go look at contracts and policies like I did with the agent for my client tonight. And the agent is possibly going to be interviewing to work with us because they were not aware that their own policies work that way. So we'll talk about that another time. But it's important to pay attention to taxes, market fluctuations, and fees. Those are really three big things that could have a big impact on how your money grows. Make sense?
So, so let me ask you something now. For the person out there who is not investing in the company's 401k, what
Mm-hmm.
is your advice to them? Because the average person, I know people, I don't put money in a 401k. You understand? I know people who tells me these things.
Mm-hmm.
So it have people out there who
Yep.
has 401k with the company and they're not investing in it. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I understand people living from paycheck to paycheck, but what you have for long term? I mean, we
Exactly.
don't know our life expectancy. We could die today, tomorrow, 50 years from now. Who
Yeah.
knows? But
Yeah.
I think those people are very ignorant in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that, they don't think they should invest in the 401k.
Mm-hmm. And truthfully, there's two, because I deal with those types of clients often. There are two types of people in that camp. They're the individuals who, dare I say, they don't think that they need to because I'll just be working until I die. And
Right.
I literally just had someone tell me that last.
Yes.
She's a nurse actually, here in Florida.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'll be working until I die, and I don't need to invest." And
Right.
that's a minority of the group. What I'm actually finding these days is the reason a lot of people aren't investing or participating in their company retirement plans or even doing it privately is honestly because no one's educating them on how it actually works, what their options are, and why they have a need for it. People know that they need to set money aside for the future because that's why those same people who aren't putting money in the 401k, they have money in the checking and savings account or under the mattress. So they
Right.
understand the importance of saving.
You're right.
Problem is because no one's ever taught them investing, how to invest, what it actually means, where to put their money, what is a stock versus what is a mutual fund, what a market fluctuation means. Because of a lack of education, a lot of our community is making poor choices when it comes to their financial future.
Yeah.
And that's why the mission here is, at least the mission on our team, is to educate people.
Right.
Because that same nurse who said, I'm going to be working until I die, I said, well, do you want to though?
Yeah.
And she said, no, of course not. So then we're taking her through an educational process and we're meeting her on Friday to set up her Roth IRA. So if you're not participating in a company retirement plan and you have access to one, work with someone so that they can teach you what it actually is, educate you on what your options are, and then start investing. Because again, unlike back home where we're all from, who's listening here, depending on where you're
Yeah.
from, you can't walk across the street to your neighbor and get some food
Yeah.
or borrow the sugar or borrow the flour.
Right.
Here, your neighbor ain't opening up the door. Okay, so you
Yeah.
you need to have money set aside. But if you work for a company that doesn't have any
For,
kind of retirement plan benefits, like a 401k or a
right.
403b if you're in healthcare, or some of my teachers out there with the 457 and whatnot, then you still have access to private retirement accounts. Those are called individual retirement accounts, IRAs and Roth and traditional IRAs. So you
Right.
still have access to those. And even for the clients who are maxing out, because I know there are a few of you on here as well, you might be a client or an individual that's already maxing out your company retirement plan. You're maxing out your IRAs privately, and you might have a ton of liquid assets, and you're concerned about taxes, market fluctuations, and things like that. There are portfolios that are tax advantaged that can mitigate your taxes and still give you access to growth for sophisticated investors. So there are a lot of options for people depending on where they are in their financial journey. There's an investment strategy that's actually an investment strategy
Right.
that can meet them where they are. Definitely.
Because one thing my son always say, school don't teach you about your credit score. School don't teach you anything about financial planning. And
Hmm.
he said that, if he gotten that education, a lot of children may not be in debt because, sometimes when you're going to school, you take out student loan, you take credit card out, different things like that. It messes you up when you
Yeah.
can't pay the bill. And he say, that is one thing they should teach in
Hmm.
school, that where they don't give it that. So if your parents not guiding you, you have no guidance. So then let me say
Hmm.
you're 21 and you have bad credit, trying to survive. When you have
Hmm.
credit card, you max it out, you have to pay it off, you're paying minimum and you're not getting nowhere paying the minimum, So
Yeah.
I think, financial education is always important for your kids, your
Hmm.
grandkids, and you lead by example. I know you have a piggy bank, you always say save something in the piggy
Yep.
bank. So
Yep.
time you reach teenager, you could put
Hmm.
that money in the bank, get your bank card, and you start them small to see
Yep.
how
Baby
they working with the bank card. Okay, or
steps.
you give them limits. This is what you could spend, and this is what it is. You
Yep.
understand? Not to order Uber Eats all the time, or
Yeah.
you,
Teach
you
them how
know
to cook.
buying coffee, as you say, or different things. But
Yeah.
it will have the time where you will want to probably go to the mall and get something and different things like that. So I think we as
Hmm.
parents have to really educate our children on
Yep.
spending money, because you have to work very hard for it.
Hmm. Yeah. Which is why I opened up by saying, yes, it's great that we could set a parent up to just set $50 aside every month, and now their child is sitting on $20,000 by the time they're 21, which will turn into a six-figure or even a seven-figure nest egg. But greater than that is the education behind what to do with that money. So because we worked with that couple when their child was much younger, teaching them about money, educating them on where they should be putting their money, when they brought their now adult daughter in, she had an education because we helped them teach her what to do. So now she understands the value of a
Money.
Roth IRA, spending some and enjoying it now, but making sure that your future is set up. So I'm 100% behind you in that the education is the most important part. And it's important that parents take on that responsibility because trust me, the education system is maybe going to teach them how to earn income. It's not going to teach them what to do with that income when they do start earning it. So that's why it's up to us to take that proactive approach to educating our children. And it's not just important to educate them, it's important to help them avoid misinformation. And unfortunately, because all of us now have access to this,
Right.
you could scroll through Instagram right now, and depending on what your search history is, you'll bump into someone whispering sweet nothings into your ear about how to avoid downturns in the market and be tax efficient and Roth IRAs aren't good and invest in this IUL and all this infinite banking, be your own bank. All of those things sound good. When you read the contracts like I have to when I'm helping clients get out of them, you'll quickly realize if you understand how money works, they aren't really designed to benefit you, the consumer. Someone's going to get rich off of it. It's just not you. It's going to be the person selling it to you. And I have a big problem with that.
Right. Another thing that, I know we keep preaching it here over and over about getting an insurance for your family, for your
Mm-hmm.
children. I don't know why it is so hard for people just not to invest $50 when the month come for
Mm-hmm.
in case of emergency,
Yeah.
in case of GoFundMe, in case of your
Mm-hmm.
family had to run with a hat that they can't bury you. I don't know how to plead again to people because there's a lot of people have nothing in this
Mm-hmm.
2024. They
Yeah.
have nothing in case of an emergency or death. They
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't know how to get it to them, but they are
And you know what's
selling
crazy, Phyllis?
even in my family. I
Yeah.
could tell you, they just they're just not getting it.
So here's been an eye-opening situation for me. So where I live in Florida, my neighbor, a good friend of mine now, who's also a client,
Right.
his full-time job is he's the director of a funeral home. So he doesn't like what he does for work,
Right.
but whenever we talk, uh, he's always telling me that one of the hardest things for him to deal with is watching people come in and they can't afford a funeral.
Yes.
And it's not just and we're talking funerals for not just the old 7 to 80 year old individual.
No.
We're talking about the 30 something year old mother with
Yes.
kids. We're talking about the young father who passed away in a car accident. We're
Yes.
talking about the child who passed away of an unforeseen illness. So every age along the spectrum, he's dealt with. And every single time he says, listen, I have some families that when they come in, they have life insurance, and we call the insurance company. The insurance company confirms the information, and that family doesn't have to worry about it. And then I have some other families that we have to keep the body on ice. They have to do GoFundMes. They have to delay funerals. They have to delay expenses because everyone's trying to scrape together
To
money.
bury. Yes.
And if you could spend $100 on a pair of sneakers, you can
Yes.
get a $500,000 life insurance policy. I have over $800,000 of life insurance as a 30-something-year-old, and I spend less than $100 a month. If you could spend $200 on a nice Michael Kors purse or something like that, you
Yes.
could get $1 million life insurance policy.
Right.
If you could spend $5 a day on a trip to Starbucks, you
Yes.
could
Or
probably
buy
have a
beer
couple
or
hundred.
cigarette.
Yeah, don't get me started on cigarettes, please. If you could set aside the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could adequately protect your family and give them financial peace of mind. And it's not about you getting life insurance because you're gone dead. Listen,
Yes.
the one thing that's guaranteed to happen is we all gone dead. Let's
Yes.
call it what it is, okay? Let me
Yes.
talk from the countryman over here, okay?
Yes.
We're all going to pass away at some point. But the difference between how some of us are going to go versus how others of us are going to go, the ones that don't have a financial plan in place will leave a financial burden.
Yes. To your
People are
family.
going to have to dip into their own retirement plans. Your kids might not have the future that you want them to have. Family might be struggling to put things together. That's a financial burden. Or if you set aside the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could leave a financial blessing. I don't want to leave planet Earth anytime soon.
Right.
Anytime soon.
None of us do.
But the one thing I never think about is what's going to happen to my family financially. if I'm not here. I go to bed at night knowing that if I don't wake up the next day, my mortgage is paid off and my family is completely financially okay. I should probably be sleeping with one eye open how much insurance I have. But the reality is, no one is coming for me. But I know for a fact that if I don't make it home to my family, financially, they're going to be okay. They might miss me and my jokes, I hope.
Right.
But the one thing they won't have to miss is the paycheck that provides for them. Life insurance provides the paycheck that you currently provide. And it's important to have it and enough of it to take care of your family for as long as they will need you to take care of them. If you have a mortgage, you need enough life insurance to cover that mortgage. If you have babies or young children under the age of 18, you need life insurance. If you
Yeah.
have a spouse that you love, you need to take care of that partner too. So life insurance isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And
Right.
if we're going to, as a community of people, let me keep it real with you. If you're going to be one of those people that talks about the rich keep getting rich and the poor stay poor and we can't get ahead and so on and so forth, here's one of the reasons that is. The reason that some people keep having to start over financially is that because when someone passes away, they don't have a stepping stone to get to the next level. They oftentimes fall backwards because there's not enough life insurance in place. Imagine you bust your butt to buy a home for your family,
Right.
but then you didn't get life insurance to cover the mortgage, and then
You're
you
gonna
pass
lose the
away.
hope.
Can the people who you leave behind afford to
They
keep
pay the
that
mortgage.
house like you would want them to, or even pay the mortgage? If the
Yeah.
answer to that is I don't know, your butt needs life insurance. If you brought a beautiful new life into this world, what's going and you're working to provide baby food, diapers, all this other stuff, and something might happen to that to you, what's going to happen to that child?
Right.
Do you want them to have to struggle or do you want them to not have to struggle? And people think, oh, well, I have 150, 200,000 on my job. I don't need anything.
Yes.
I've paid out death claims and the money goes quick.
Right.
But the bigger the pile of money, the longer it lasts. And the great thing is that with the right type of life insurance, you can get a couple hundred thousand, several hundred thousand. I have a client who has $1 million of coverage and they're spending less than $200 a month.
Right.
So it can fit in your budget if you make it a priority. And it's not the insurance, it's the peace of mind to know that your family is going to be okay. That's why you get life insurance. I don't get life insurance because I want dead.
Right.
I
Right.
get life insurance because I love my family and I
Right.
want them to be okay. So if you say, hey, I love my family, you should probably have life insurance.
Yeah, I think so. So let me
Yeah,
ask you another thing.
sure.
Like a 70-year-old or 80-year-old, do they have a time frame for them? Like you could take out the policy and them, or they
So the thing about life insurance is that the cost of life insurance is based on age, health, how much coverage. So that age thing, the younger you are, the cheaper it is.
right,
Unfortunately, the older you are, the more expensive it is.
right,
So you don't want to wait until, well, I don't wait until I'm retired, when I'm
right,
closer to death.
right,
No, because you don't know when
and-
that's going to come knocking. So just get
right.
it while it's cheap. The reason I spend less than $100 a month is because I got my insurance several years ago when I was younger and healthier. So get it now because we
So
don't know.
I have another question for you too.
Sure.
In case of death, I know it have some insurance company have a death um what they call it, like not life insurance for that they have the funeral, they take care of the funeral part. How you call that one?
Like final expenses.
Yeah, like like okay, so I went to Trinidad the other day and I took out a $40,000 just for death. In case I die, that money will
Okay.
go to my debt. You
Okay.
understand? Like
Well,
that.
truthfully, life insurance will go to anything you designate it for. Like I don't have my life insurance
But I mean, with the
policy.
credit union, it's not a life insurance though, but it's like a debt benefit then.
Well, it is life insurance because
Oh,
life insurance pays out a death benefit. So life insurance is on your life. So whether it's from the credit union and it's a temporary policy or your travel insurance,
right.
but instead of getting all these fine little things, like I see some people selling mortgage insurance, it's just life insurance that covers the balance of the mortgage. You're better off just getting a standard low cost level term life insurance policy that's high value, low premium, that will allow you to get the coverage that you need at a very cost effective rate, which will give you the peace of mind to know that, hey, if I don't make it home, my family is okay. But because the premium's so low, you have a ton of money left over in your budget to actually
Right.
invest for your future. And
Ex-
then if you pass away in your 60s and 70s without any life insurance, but you invested successfully like a lot of our clients do, you're still leaving them money, except now it's coming from your investments. It's not about I need life insurance forever. You
Okay.
need money forever. So if you don't have actual money, you need insurance. But if you have money and you're in your retirement years, you have the right beneficiaries set up, you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Afia
My
is saying that.
client is actually in the waiting room of
All
my
right.
Zoom call. So was there
Okay.
one other question? I texted them that
Yeah. Afia is, before we close off, Afia is saying it's
oh,
very important to have things in order. I agree. For peace of mind. Um, I
100%.
want to say
Yes.
thank you for hanging with us. Thank you for giving us great advice. Have a blessed,
Absolutely.
wonderful, and safe week. I know you're a
Thank
busy
you.
man, but thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed night.
All right. Have a blessed night.
Bye bye.
Okay. All right, guys, there you have it. You got Mr. Taylor. You got the advice on financial planning and setting up for your kids. I hope that this brings a peace of mind to some of you guys out there who have young kids who want to invest on yourself, invest on your family. As he said again, life insurance is to make sure that your family is comfortable when you pass on. All right, so it's not like if it's something bad that you shouldn't have. I think everybody should invest in an insurance policy. Just you never know the time or the hour. All right. So have a blessed and wonderful and safe week. I want to say happy early birthday to Rian Ramden. Tomorrow is her birthday. Big up, big up, big up. Enjoy your day tomorrow, Ray, and have a blessed and safe one. Guys, thank you for locking in. Motivational Monday, where each one teach one. See you guys next week. God willing, I'll be in Atlanta, but I'll be bringing you vibration as normal. Have a blessed week, guys. Peace out.